Well, it's February and it's almost spring, and in the spring, a young man's fancy turns to love, but a not so young man's fancy turns to gardening, particularly spuds, potatoes. Potatoes are in the nightshade family, like tomatoes and eggplants, and like there's a plant that's deadly nightshade. There's a cartoon character, Raphella nightshade. And parts of nightshade family are poisonous. Indeed, the green part of potatoes is not very good for you. In fact, it's poisonous. These are a purple potato that comes from Whole Foods. And the great things about potatoes at Whole Foods is they don't spray them with a bunch of gunk to keep them from sprouting. And so potatoes are an early spring crop. I may be pushing it a little bit because this has been a cold winter, but I'm thinking about mid-February now, as it is, that we can plant our potatoes. Now this is a potato that is grown to be small for new potatoes or fingerling potatoes. And now these potatoes in the nightshade family are very different from sweet potatoes. We'll plant those later. They're a summer crop. You don't want to be planting them now. Potatoes have little things called eyes on them. And these eyes are going to sprout into spudlets, into little tomato plants. And so what you do is you cut the potato, making sure that you've got on each portion at least 2 eyes. I was kind of generous with the eyes this year because I don't need very many potatoes. And then you let them dry for a couple of days, and then you plant them. I'm going to plant these. I've already got a row started, and this is is good soil that we've composted here at the garden. And so I'm planting them closer together because the soil's really good and because they're small, and I'm only going to grow them for small potatoes. If I were going to have bigger potatoes, I'd plant the rows a little further, and probably the potatoes probably a foot or a foot and a half apart. So I've cut these spuds, I've let them dry, and I'm just going to put them down with the dry side down. Maybe say a prayer to the potato goddess. And then I'm going to cover them up. And now you can plant the whole one. When they're that small, I just plant the whole one. And you see, and so on and so on. And then I'm just going to get my trusty hoe here, and I'm going to cover them up. And I will do that till I get this whole row done. And then because it still is a little cold, I'm going to then top it with some partially rotted straw, which will further sort of insulate these little jewels until the proper time comes for harvest. And then we'll show you that, and we'll show you how to make my very favorite potato dish. So from the community garden, it's potato time.